Excuse me, Taurus. I'm starting to clear my throat for this reading here. So how you doing, Taurus? Welcome with a little weird introduction. So this is your April 2021 astrology and oracle message reading. Okay? Hopefully I have a message up in here that you can understand by the way I'm translating it. And that it benefits you in the best way possible. Okay? So Taurus, let's go to get started. So for your astrological yard destiny came out. You know, this card when it came out, it did help. You know, that's the first card that comes out when I'm trying to do this setup for a reading, right? So when it came out, I had visions of a lot of curves. So I'm assuming that it's about bending. Now the thing about the bending going to get interesting because your cards is interesting to me, okay? It's almost close to the Aries reading, sort of, kind of, but it's maybe a difference in the symbolism, okay? That might be a neat, important factor for the astrological perspective of it, right? Because the yard also comes with angles. These angles make a difference. It also kind of means teamwork. Your allies, your enemies, your playing board. And those are the major factors here, especially when we're talking about destiny, right? So it's not for you personally. If the message turns out to resonate, it might narrow down more specific for you compared to the way I'm translating it, right? So let me go ahead and continue on with the oracle. It is a message for a rabbit. What is a rabbit to you, first of all? I could come up with many definitions. I could come up with the symbolism. I could come up with color symbolism when it comes to it. I could come up with the stamina and the mobility aspect of a perspective. But yet, that is only adding on. So that's where, like I say, the yarding and destiny is. It's a whole playing field. So if I give too much, am I creating your playing field? If I give too little, do I become an ally or an enemy? So who's supposed to bend if you was already bending? So if I'm an enemy, and depending on how the playboard is, can I slide over your curve? Can I go up underneath of your curve? Or which way are you bending? You know, in this situation, are you bending into an angle, a full loop, a spiral shape? So I mean, it's it's the message for the rabbit. It's the chase in it. It's the suspense, the thriller, right? So let me go ahead and continue on and get into the cards, right? So when the cards was coming out, right, the first two tickled me very pink. And that was because it was the Empress and the Emperor, right? The first two. So I started laughing, right? Because I'm like, okay, this is a level up, right? This is a continuation. This is, if we got bends and curves in it, then this playing board might be a valley. I might not need to walk up in here and expect a flat playing field, you know, like on a football game or something, unless that's what my situation or how I'm staging it to be. No other than that, I need to stage it for action to take place, to make this quest very important. You know what I'm saying? Because the way that it is working, you know what I'm saying, Taurus is, you're going to experience this, you know. For example, say you into a pretty young relationship, right? So you might be, the person might actually be getting comfortable, right? And it seems like the more comfortable they get being with you, they're showing you more and more of their self. They might not been able to verbalize it, or maybe a verbalization and your capuchin total up to a perception, a prediction, you know what I'm saying? And as they release their self, the matching, could it still been correct? And the fact of, in your perception creativity, you manifested yourself. You added in some constructural points, especially with that emperor being there, right? And the empress. It's like who gonna have the best deal? who gonna have the best design here? You know, it could be a little bit of competition that's going right there, right? And it's not that a person is really not being true. It's just, it was something about that person that drawn you in, that you heard and perceived, and you heard, analyzed, and the Capuchin came out to be what it is. But if you still was like, okay, I'm going to still try to move a little slow and make sure I'm understanding, it still was on guard. So that's like the emperor too, right? And the empress, guarding the throne, you know what I'm saying? But it's still the journey and the suspense and the thriller. But what do? Are you going to dictate any type of harsh judgment or whatever? Because and the next cards is the Ten of Swords, the Death card, and the Four of Cups. So now it's all beginning, and you got your judgment time. So it's even like, for Taurus in an astrological perspective, it's like actually connected, maybe it was connected to Mercury, right? And it called Mercury up and was like, yo, for real, I need to find out whether me and Scorpio got some beef, Merc. Can you take me down to Pluto real quick? And then, and bring me back? Merc like, yo, before you get to Pluto, you gotta talk to Saturn and Uranus. Are you serious? You know, Taurus is like, you serious? Alright, can you take me to all these places at one time so I can get these problems solved? So that's astrological. But how would what's going on up there actually affect you? In a situation like that, negotiation is needed. Compromising is needed. Because negotiation and compromising can be the same. But once again, that's on the person. Because I know some people say they wouldn't wrote two words that mean the same. But then they're wrong, because, you know, we got the synonyms and antonyms category, right? We got thesis and all these words, right? So, but it can't go to that point, you know. It's all up to how somebody feel. It could be like, yeah, you true, yeah. I've been out of school so long, I really didn't think, I ain't even really care in school why they even taught us that. I just wanted to make the grade. But now, maybe I do need to care a little bit, because if I care a little bit, that energy gonna come part of me and it's gonna awaken me up. But I had to start all the way back from the roots. That's where the Empress is at. And the Ten of Swords could come in. Because then you go into the root. And you get to uproot something, and that's where death is coming in. And the Four of Cups. Because now you have uprooted that. Then you're going through a side effect. So, you know, I'm trying to help break it down the best way I can, and that was basically what I could do. So what I'm about to do is shuffle a deck. You're about to hear me shuffle some cards, okay? Just to get you prepared. If you don't like it, you can mute for a second, right? But what I'm doing, Taurus, is I'm going to shuffle this deck, and I'm going to get 2 cards. One from the top and one from the bottom, right? This is the one on the top is to represent the inner energy or the conscious side of yourself that you should be pretty much aware of, and that's kind of like radiating out, you know, is moving outwards, you know. Other people could detect it, you know, for sure, right? In some kind of way, they might be able to detect it or get affected. One of the two. So, the next one on the bottom is for the purpose of the shadow side, or what you might not be aware about in the energy that's coming out, you know. So, one of the two is going to get answered. Hopefully you'll be able to understand in my translation to it as I get your 2 cards prepared. But it's good for me to talk to transfer the energy into the cards to get it all prepared instead of... Now I'm going to shuffle another deck because I want to get clarified for the 2 cards I did select. Can I get one clarifying card for the Hangman? One clarifying card for the Hangman. May I have one clarifying card for the Nine of Wands, please? One clarifying card for the Nine of Wands. Okay. So, the thing is, the upright card, the first card, the top card, right, came out with the Hangman and the Ace of Swords. I don't know if this is a game of chess, or is this a game of magic? If it's Harry Potter, if it's more or less like Catch Me If You Can, American Gangster, it's definitely it's definitely a energy that you can put out on deal making. With this Hangman and Ace of Swords. It's definitely an energy in the law of attraction. It's not in the law of alignment. And usually you would think is the story is more or less told that in the law of attraction that it is all about alignment. I'm a skeptic on that theory, okay? So because I'm a skeptic, I'm just letting you know I only could translate as a skeptic. If you're not a skeptic, then most likely the message going to resonate in a different format for you, which is going to go all the way back to where we started off at, of perception. And that's what a Hangman and the Ace of Swords is functioning at. And I had to use myself as an example. Because then we're back at the beginning of the message. Perception, interpretation is a very key factor with this Hangman and Ace of Swords. And it's not, you're going to know. You know that your perception and interpretation is. That's just on face value. So basically, what it's trying to say, the trick of it is, it's the Nine of Wands and the Knight of Cups. It's more or less like the theory, treat somebody the way you want to be treated. But it's really taking it to the heart center, whether you're serious about it or not. Meaning that, man, yeah, I can handle that. I done been through a similar situation. Knowing that when you just said it, you said the word similar. So treat somebody the way you want to be treated. Don't even have the word similar in it. But if that theory makes you think of the word similar, then that's for you. But for your guardian angels, maybe they got a different perception than you do. So that's really the interesting part about this, and that's where the yard and the destiny is coming in at, because it's a whole event, it's a whole cast, it's a production that's going on. You know, it's a whole production thing. So you're in a maze run. That's all to it. But, you know, the message is here to help you to cope. Cope within the maze run. Survive within the maze run. But it's only based on the way that it resonates with you in order to even help in those areas. Okay? Well, Taurus, I wish you well. That's the end of my messages for the month. Until the next time, take care.